All right, guys, in the interest of staying on time, it is 2 o'clock, and this is the final class of our Master Series, the Casey Samson Team Master Series. And basically, while we're waiting for everybody to assemble, I'm going to bring everyone back to where we started at real quick, and we're going to run through this fast as we can. Hello, Billy.
Hey, what's up?
Just getting her started, buddy. All right. So let's go back from the start, and it will take us real quick through. So the first class we had was on the message. The number one message is, if you don't sell your house the first 10 days, it's going to cost you $1,000 a day from there. We gave stats and figures and how you deliver this message, but this is one of the key messages we have. The second class was all about prospecting and messaging. And you've got to go back over these classes because they'll jar something in you that we all get work, but we need to step back, take a little time and reflect, get a little education. And this is someplace you can go to kind of reboot. If you look at the second class, and all these classes are online, the second class was on prospecting and messaging. So the way you prospect is you have a message, you have a market, and you have a delivery system. Now, in this class, we gave you 12 different markets, 12 different messages, and about 16 different delivery messages. And what you do is you combine the market message and delivery system into what's called a campaign. Now, you must have at least 3 or 4 monthly campaigns. Now, our team may have 6 or 7, but you as an agent need to make sure that you have a campaign that's going every month or every event, every listing, So I want you to go back, look at that. Every time you think you need some business, go back to that thing and watch it again. Now, I'm going to do summaries or outlines for all of these classes. So I'll make those available to everybody. Our class 3 was on the pricing, which to me is sacred. I mean, this is what's most important about making sure that you get the houses sold. You can have that good track record. If you have a great track record, people trust you and they will put more faith in what you say. So the class number 3 was all about pricing and our strategy. The fourth one, again, very, very important. People aren't looking for traditional homes. They're looking for transitional homes. So how you picture them, how they look in pictures, how they look on the web, very important. We went over all the different ways that you communicate. In today's class, going to be on communication. The way you communicate what they need to do to their house. The next class 5, was on the marketing plan. So when I am communicating like we are today, I'm really sending the sellers when we're done, this is your pricing strategy and this is your marketing plan. And then we'll come by and we'll decide on what the to-do list is. But this marketing plan is extremely powerful and fluid. I mean, it is fluid. I mean, there are different things going on out there that are helping us every day. So today's marketing plan was not the marketing plan we had 4 or 5 months ago. Things change. So then we went on to the next class, which was the predictive analysis. Quite honestly, we have a couple of listings. Kelly and I have one going on. Billy and I have one going on. We would not pull the trigger on either one of these listings because without all the social media, without all the preliminary stuff in the coming soon, we didn't have enough information to launch those successfully. So we put them both off for a week so I can get Julie back in town and we can do some really good marketing on that so I can get a little more information before we launch these things. So predictive analysis lets a seller know, lets I know that we're ready to roll. The next one, last class that we just had, was on negotiating. Everything we do is negotiations. How you negotiate, who you negotiate with, how you take down a bully, how you get the right price on your house, how you win the listing, how you handle people in contract negotiations, how you handle a home inspection where the buyer wants $40,000 and your seller is willing to give up $0. So how do we win these negotiations all the time? And that was class 7. So all these classes have been valuable, okay? And today we're not going to be doing any of the PowerPoints. Today we're going to be looking basically at communications. Okay. And let me whip over, let me get you off of this now, and let's just have a talk about this. Now, as I said, we will have a outline of this, but it doesn't lend itself to a PowerPoint or anything like that. So let's just talk about how we would, how we would go through this communication. So every day we communicate with prospects that are thinking about buying or selling. We communicate with clients, with other agents. I mean, every day we communicate with all these people. We communicate with our team. You have a team, I have a team, everybody has a team. So today what we're really going over is our best practices and our protocols when you're talking about these communications. I'm not saying we're the best, that these are the end all, the be all. All I'm saying is they work for us. You know, we've been very successful throughout the years. We keep building and building on them. And now we're going to turn these protocols over to you guys. So really the name of this class was communications. And, I said that, the saying is the truth will set you free. And I continue to follow that to this day. And I'll tell you the rest of the story on where that came from. So Danny and I were playing golf in our early 20s. And we were on the 17th hole at Twin Lakes. And I wasn't married yet. But I don't know what it was. I was supposed to go somewhere with Carol or do something with her. So I'm on the 17th tee and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to tell her, what story am I going to tell her, because I'm playing golf. And Danny looked up and he said, why don't you just tell her the truth? And I went, the truth, that just might work, So I went in, it's like, what's she going to do? Kill me, right? So I told her, hey, I played golf today. I wanted to play with Danny, had a good time. And it was no big deal. So I say this all the time in our team meetings or in any time there's a situation that we have with our team and they're tired of hearing me say it. The truth will set you free. Just tell them the truth. A perfect example yesterday. We find out that a home that my people had bought, they didn't do a home inspection when they bought it, but the basement had real damage to the foundation. It looks like water. The basement flooring is all going all over the place. So we have a problem. We have a big problem. So the fact is, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Here's the problem. Here's the solution. This is the execution. We're going to fix what's broke. We're going to fix whatever damage was done and move on. And that's all you can do. So, is it a major problem? No, it's something that happens every day. These are things that happen. So we're going to fix it. We're going to fix all the damage that occurred and then we're going to move on. Whether the buyer's still here or not, that's just the proper protocol we're going to do and how we communicate that to the seller. It's not a panic, we remain calm. As we've said before, we remain calm in anything you're going to do. So let's talk about the best practices. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to break these down and how do we communicate with the prospects? How do we communicate with our clients, which is very, very important. How do we get what we want out of the agents? So how are we going to communicate with them? And what's the best way that we communicate inter-team? How do you communicate with the people you're working with? Okay. So first of all, let's go to prospects. All right. We go back to class 2 and we start talking about how we're going to communicate with them. What is our message? What is our market? What is our delivery system? So, I give examples like, we just sold something. So the message is, hey, we just sold it in 7 days. Our market is clear, 500 houses in the immediate radius. What's our delivery? Yeah, Bill. Billy, did you say something? Okay. So the delivery system is either a card if it's a smaller house or a brochure if it's a bigger house. Well, how do you know if you're sending them to brochures or cards? Well, what we do is we know which neighborhoods have a bigger turnover rate. So if I'm dealing with one area where the turnover rate is 8%, they're getting a brochure because that's fertile ground. If it's in a neighborhood that's say 500,000 and the turnaround is only 3%, well, there's not a lot of turnaround in there. So I do want to let everyone know. So we'd probably use a more economical cards as opposed to brochures. So that's what we're dealing with prospects. What we're talking about, what's our message? What's our delivery system? So we also, deal with prospects in social media. So you may have a just sold that you put out. Well, there's just solds, but there's other ways of communicating on there. What are the market conditions? You know, how's COVID-19 handling this? You know, if you have a page on your website devoted to something, whether it's must sell in 10 days, there's a message for you. The market is off 50%, listings are down 50%. Now's a great time for sellers to get in the market. Hey, buyers, multiple contracts are way down, so now's the time for you to get in the market, or whatever that is. You want to be able to communicate that on your social media page. Now, what the most powerful way of communicating these things is to get people to share them. Once, let me give you an example. So let's say we just sold a house, and my agent, my top producer, is going to put that out to their 1,000 people and say, hey, we just sold this house. So those people know my agent, and they're excited about it. If the seller also promotes it to their sphere of influence, now you have 2,000 people that have cost you nothing, that you just gotten a message that we just sold in 10 days, beautiful house, look at how well we presented, look at how, that's 2,000 people we've gotten out to. Now, if on each email or if on each one of those social media things, you ask them, please share to your friends. Now, every time they share, if we get 8, now that's 8,000 people that have seen it. So for everybody that shares, people have an average of 500, 1,000, 1,500 people on there. So you can expand that by 1,000. So always look for, when we're talking about prospecting, we want to get as much exposure as we possibly can to people that know us and to people that know our clients. So we're going to work together to form that tree. That costs basically nothing. Okay. So that would be a campaign they would have with every time we list a house or sell a house. Okay. So there's a built-in campaign that you can have. So let's talk about the newsletters. Another campaign we have is newsletters. I have multiple messages, sell in the first 10 days, market is down, inventory is down. This is COVID-19. We have new strategies for this. And here's all the houses that we sold. That's a newsletter. Okay. Email the newsletter to your clients. Everybody should have a database. Always be looking to build up that database. So another campaign is a newsletter that goes out to prospects, and we're talking about market updates. How's the market doing? How's this COVID handling everybody? Everybody wants to know about the market. Just for your information, when I look at who hits what, they're hitting the market update. They all want to know what's going on with the market. I give seminars. This is the way I communicate with prospects who I team up and partner with a lot of Samson agents. So certainly this is a good way for us to communicate together on doing seminars, but you can do seminars to your church group, any organizations that you have, any moms groups, they have a lot of moms groups. Everybody's looking for speakers. So if you need to get up and talk to people about, what's going on in your neighborhood, by all means, okay? How else do you communicate? Go to the prospecting thing. You need to be out. You need to be where people are seeing. Nobody in your house is going to buy a house from you. But when you go out, you see people, you meet people, you talk to people. You need to be very social. Events, you go to events. That's where you're social. That's where people see you. If you're going to have a reunion and you have the emails to everybody's reunion, then your database just kind of expanded quite a bit of people that know who you are. So this is the way we communicate, whether it's email, and let me just stop here. Everybody knows how to get me upset when they say, well, I left them 2 emails and they wouldn't respond. Well, and they know I get kind of pushy. It's like, hey man, we got to pick up the phone and call these people. I don't want to just have email stuff. Let's pick up the phone. Let's give them a call. Okay. So emails, phones, newsletters, social events, social media marketing, cards and brochures that go out, your campaigns that you have set up. Again, let me just give you an example. The campaigns, just 3 campaigns that we have. Our newsletters, I've already talked about, go out. Our just solds go out. Those are all automatic. Okay. Seminars we have are automatic. And, me going out to social events is automatic. Those are just campaigns that are automatic. Then Billy will sit down or Morgan will sit down and say, hey, I need to work on my prospecting. Let's look at all the markets. Let's look at all of the messages, and let's look at all of the delivery systems. Let's figure out which campaign you want to kick in on. Billy did at the beginning of the year very successfully and has probably got 5 or 6 buyers just out of that one campaign that we ran first off. So, all right, so that is how we would communicate with prospects. There's a scene in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, where, and this is why the Buffini things and the cold calling and all that, there's a scene where Pappy O'Donnell is going to go into the place where they sang the song, and the kid goes, well, those are constituents, Daddy. Don't you want to shake their hand? He says, son, I'm mass communicating here. I'm mass communicating. He's going to get on the airwaves and mass communicate. So I always think every time someone says, pick up that phone, you know, I'm mass communicating. I'm sending out things by the thousands, you know, sometimes by the tens of thousands. You know, you're reaching out on the internet to thousands. So you're trying to touch as many people as possible with interesting messages that appeal to them. Now, so that's where the prospects. The other is the partnership. People will call us up. Hey, can you talk to me about this? It's real simple when you're communicating with us. We're transaction oriented. If you have somebody that you need closed, or you need a deal, or you want to pass off a deal with us, or you want to work with us on a deal, you set up the meeting, send us the address, and let us know when the meeting is. We will kick in. You know, you'll make the introduction, but we will do the listing presentation. We'll work all the way through. You can watch as we go. And then if you're participating with us, if you're going 50-50, then you'll take over at the selling process and take it from there. We are not going to end here. Okay. So this is our 8th class. It is our class finale, if you will, but this is not where it ends. So we will be doing every other week. We'll be having partnership meetings. We're going to have a partnership meeting for an hour or 2. We'll do certain things for 15 minutes where it'll be instructions, and then we're going to open it up, and it'll be just transaction based. I just want to hear about deals. Let me know what's going wrong, what's going right, what worked for you, what did, what didn't. And we'll try and get, 40, 50, 60 people involved in these partnership meetings every other Tuesday. And it's one thing to hear me say it or hear us say it, but it's a whole different ball game when we're applying it to transactions that you're doing every day. That's where we learn. So, it could be 15 minutes of instruction and 45 minutes or an hour, hour and a half in working transactions. What's going right? What's going wrong? How would we apply the rules that we have to a certain situation? How do you get yourself in or out of trouble, basically? Okay. So now let's talk about clients. We're talking to clients. Very, very important. We screwed it up the other day. I got Michelle's getting married and Julie's out of town. So we're a little short, but so I missed a critical part of this and it came back and bit me. All right. So when I say you're working with clients and this is the protocol, I mean, it's all protocol. You can't miss one step. So the most important thing is an introduction email. Before I walk in the door, I want you to know everything you need to know about me and do your due diligence, because the last thing I want to do is talk about me. I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about pricing and staging your house and marketing plans, predictive analysis. We have a lot to talk about. So I don't want to get into who I am because in that meeting, because we got other things to talk about. So that's why an introduction email, a very nice, very informative, our introduction email is, we're going to outline what we're going to talk about in this meeting. We're going to give you all the links you need to do a due diligence on me and the team and our process and what we're doing. You've got links that'll talk about, everything we're going to talk about in this meeting, I got a link to. Okay. We're going to put out the track record once and for all and just not even worry. Just here's the track record, speaks for itself. Do your due diligence. So when I walk in that room, we want to just get down to business. Now, the other day, we didn't do that. Agent needed some help. I got on the phone within an hour or 2. Michelle is swamped doing her other things. She did not get the introduction email. So when we picked up the phone and started talking to him, he doesn't know me from Adam, in which he talked for 20 minutes straight. He talked for 20 minutes straight. So much so I think Billy left. Billy couldn't take it anymore. And then by the time I talked, there was no credibility in some of the things I said. Now, it is true we did go from 750, which is what it was listed to 700, which is what my pricing model said it should have been. And then if people wanted to bid more than that, they could bid more than that. But we had to jam that in. It didn't flow. We had to jam it in. So the first part, you must send an introduction of who you are and what you're going to talk about with backups to your website that says, this is what we have to do. And again, I go back and when we talk about communication, I spent a lot of money on a website, a very, very nice website. And I did it when I really couldn't afford it, but I got a big credit card. I, ran up a bunch of stuff and boom. And we've been advancing that and advancing that and advancing that when I first got into real estate or got back in 2007. So, it was, people were always looking for how to get websites for free and cheap and all. That's all they talked about. And it's like, well, the differentiator for me was spending an initial $5,000 up front to get this thing done. And I could tell you one deal pays 4 times that amount of money, or 5 times or 6 times. So immediately I started doing 40 or 50,000 or $1 million worth of business. And it's really a drop in the bucket when you think about it. So that website, if you want to communicate who you are and what you do, that's it. So we're talking with the client. We need to get them that email. We need to make sure they have links so they can see how our houses look. In fact, when I walk into a listing appointment, they're quoting me. I said, yeah. They say, I know. It's a traditional look. It's not a transitional look. They're waiting for me to tell them how they can switch their traditional house to transitional house. They're speaking in our words. And as far as the, pricing is concerned, it's so much easier when they know that 85% of your house is selling the first week. So you don't want to brag about yourself. You want to have all that done up front and in what I call the due diligence period. Do your due diligence on me. Here's my track record. Here's the inventory that you should ask every agent for. And there you go. So that's the introduction email. Very, very powerful.
And Casey.
Yeah, buddy.
I think it's imperative that we have that because it puts everyone on the same wavelength. It establishes credibility, with us and the client, but then it also puts the outline of the meeting together so they know what's going to happen. It's not just, just chaos going on. I mean, they know we're going to talk about pricing, marketing, analytics, and all of that. So, yesterday or the day before, whenever we had that call, it was kind of just mayhem. And that's because the intro didn't go out. So I think it's imperative that you have that. It puts everyone on the same wavelength.
That's right. And, it also, Billy, follows that saying that little old man said to me way back when I was a young buck. And he said, tell him what you're going to tell him and tell him what you told him. So, tell him what you're going to tell him is in the introduction email. Now we're going to do a listing presentation on Zoom. This is a game breaker. This is absolutely a game changer. Zoom allows us to communicate so much better with sellers. We have one tomorrow, divorced couple, husband's in one place, wife's in another, perfect. Nothing's more uncomfortable than sitting at a kitchen table with a divorced couple and the tension, you can just feel it. Like I said, the teeter-totter's up here. So to have one in their office and the other in the house is perfect. But the Zoom presentations are far more than that. They are really, they let us get to know the sellers. We can, we got more questions we can ask them. We've got PowerPoints we can show them that clearly lay out the plan. And when I'm done going over a pricing model, it's very difficult to do that at a kitchen table. But when you're on Zoom and they're looking at my computer, it's very easy for us to walk through a presentation. So, we talk about the pricing strategy. We talk about the marketing plan. Now let's talk about price. We know that their price is here and we know that the price should be down here. So what's going to get us from here to here? Okay. It's communication. If you can get them from here to here, then we're 90% home. So the rest of this meeting is fine. This class is fine, but getting them from the price they think to the price they have. And how do we do that? Well, in the listing presentation, we're very clear about walking through how important the price is If we don't do it, we're going to lose $1,000 a day. And what are the 2 things that are going to trap us into making that wrong decision? Hungry agents and inaccurate websites. If I can take both of those things out of the equation and then say, okay, this is the way you authenticate your data, and clearly in a systematic, analytical way, show them exactly how you arrive at a price. And again, I'm going to say, there's a husband and a wife, or a husband and whatever, whoever's there, 2 sellers. One thinks one thing, one thinks another. All I'm doing is showing that this one's the right one. So we're analytically showing how to do this. We talk about negotiating. It's a huge negotiation on figuring out where this price is going to be. And again, this is the truth will set you free. I mean, all I'm saying is this is what we have. This is the data that I'm working with. And then we get into the questions of how did you arrive at your number? How, do they have another comp? Do they have something else that's accurate that I don't know about yet because it's outside the bounds of what we would normally search for? So let me know. I'm very anxious to find out. I'm very inquisitive. And let me just stop here for a second and just say this. I don't know how many people are here, but I'm going to tell you how lucky this company is for one main reason. That the leader at this point, Danny is a spiritual leader, but Donnie is the actual nuts and bolts guy. Donnie is curious. Donnie is very, very curious. He does not think he knows everything. He is not somebody that's walking around and he's going to take what he knows and force it on everyone. He's curious. He's looking. He's asking. He's listening to podcasts. He's finding out what's new, what's not, what's wrong. Do you know how mature that is, or how rare that is, that somebody running a company is actually curious about all the new stuff that's going on? That's very powerful. It's very powerful. And it's a great sign for Samson Properties that you have somebody that's kind of running it that has that kind of curiosity about finding out what is the best thing. And then I forget what Danny quoted me, but he said something about all these classes, these free classes Samson has, which is really amazing education. I think we're all fortunate to be in an environment like this where everybody's learning and doing it. But let me caution everybody, 15% education, 80% transactions. Don't get too caught up in all the education or you're never going to do anything. You have to learn, apply, get paid, learn, apply, get paid, and grow together. So, just want to, while we're at it, I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm really, really impressed with some of the stuff that he's coming up with. So let's go back to the Zoom presentation and how we're communicating, getting this priced exactly where we want it, and we all feel comfortable. And once we get to the threshold conversation, and you say that 80% of the market will be wiped out if we go here, they go here, and all is good. So now we've accomplished the goal, and the goal is in the best interest of the seller. You're just helping them get to that spot. And you truly have to, in your heart of hearts, think that you are doing what's in the best interest of that seller. Okay. All right. So we've gone from the introduction email, which is critical. Who am I? Here's my due diligence. The Zoom meeting, which is very powerful. You got to have a listing presentation. It's got to be on PowerPoint. You got to walk them through all the pricing strategies and the pitfalls and all the rest of that stuff. Okay. So once we've done that, and they're very excited to move forward, because to be honest with you, when we talk about, the last thing we talk about is predictive analysis. They're ready to go. Just come on over and let's get going. Let's get going right now. Now I tell you, the Compass and Weichert or whoever else the other companies are still talking about how great their company is, and we're going through all of this kind of process and predictive analysis, which they've never heard of, and now we're moving to the next phase. We need to come over to your house. Okay. Now we need to have. So we're going to set up that meeting, but before we're done, our listing appointment, remember, we told them what we were going to tell them in an introduction email. We told them what we were going to tell them in the actual listing presentation. We told them in the listing presentation. Now we're going to tell them what we told them. So there's a follow-up email that comes in, and the follow-up email is pricing strategy and marketing plan. Here it is. Here's your defining characteristics. All I'm doing is summarizing. Here's your price per square foot. Here's your percentage of assessment. Here's what the models say your thing is worth if it's customary. Upgrades in condition may vary. You know, they push your price up, down. But we attach the pricing model, we attach the worksheet, and that's your pricing strategy. And then the final thing is the thresholds. So, you know, at this point before inspection, this is where we are. Now, the next one is the marketing plan. Well, you know, upon further thoughts, here's your buyer, here's who they are, here's where they are, here's how we're going to attack the realtors, here's how we're going to attack the buyers, here's how we're going to attack the renters, and here's how we're going to attack the neighbors. So we're going over the marketing plan with him and them and her. We're going over it with them after we've met. Tell them what you're going to tell them what you told them. That's the tell them what you told. So now we're ready to go. Now there's no misconceptions. You've said it now 2-3 times. They're fairly clear. We're locked and ready to go. Okay, now we're in that visit the house, come up with the to-do list, set the schedule, and let's get this thing launched. So, you know, the follow-up email is critical. The introduction email is critical. Your PowerPoint that walks them through everything, through the pricing, everything is all critical. So now these are the communication steps that we go. And basically now we have the listing. Okay, now what are we going to do? Well, let me stop and go back. Let me talk about communicating during that visit. Do not offend. Be happy, be cheerful, be positive. Danny, when he started the company, said you don't have to be 2 things, professional and nice. If you just stick with professional and nice, you're pretty good. I mean, you forget about this. It's just be professional, be nice. But the way we communicate with sellers, traditional versus transitional, this is traditional, this is not traditional. We already know that this is the way most people live and that this is the way most buyers want it. So we're going to try and go from step A to B, and we're going to try and do it as economically as possible. But don't, you know, this is still a like business. They're going to like you to do business with you. This is still a like business. There's a lot of compliments going on. There's a lot of things you like about this house. Okay. I mean, I know it's going to be tough telling them what they need to do, and you need to feel that, you know, are they getting a little ticked off or not, you know? So, and here is where honesty comes in. Okay. Again, I talked about Kelly the other day. We're at a listing appointment. I don't notice, you know, I know that I got to change the color of that house, and they've got the wood stained around the windows. I know that's going to change. It's got to change. And she was sitting there, and I could tell the look on her face. She had something to say, and she wasn't going to say it, or didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. The truth will set you free. What? The lighting fixtures are awful. Well, it didn't have to be that frank, but I mean, the lighting fixtures were really antique-y. And she was right. I never even looked up. Maybe it's my neck, but I didn't look up. So it was what do you call them, like Tiffany lamps. So anyways, you have to pull those out, put new ones in to handle other things that she was talking about. I mean, those are critical. They've just got to be done. And I don't care if you don't want to list with us or not. Just remember this. The best listing you take is the one you don't take. The best listing is the one that you don't take. Because, you know, some listings will drag us down, take all our energy, all our money, all our time. And I can tell you that when one of my agents gets involved with a listing that's really wearing them out, I'm telling you, it's counterproductive. So just take all that time, energy, and money we would spend on them, and we could find 3 listings in the same amount of time we'd spend chasing a bad listing. Okay, so we want to be, you know, very productive in these meetings that we have when we go over to visit their house. We want to come up with a to-do list, make it very clear, and also make it clear how we're going to get that done, not just the what, but the how. So if I find the light, and if Kelly finds the light and puts it in a shopping cart, and all you got to do is push the button and it shows up, pay for it, and it shows up on your front porch, we send over an electrician. It's pretty easy, you know, because they're thinking in their mind, God, I got to go figure out what works in here, what doesn't, you know. Jesus, that's crazy. So really, we're the professionals. We'll find it. We have people that do the work. All we're going to do is have them come over, give an estimate. We'll give them the go ahead. All we're going to do is find it online, put it in the shopping cart. You're going to buy it, and it's going to come over here, and an electrician will put it up. It's all done. Try and take it, because remember, they're emotional, they're tired, maybe they're older, they don't have time, energy, or money. This client did not have any energy. He said, I don't have any energy for this crap. But we're doing it. We're going to put the price where it should be too. We got the listing. Let's set expectations. Communicate that we are trying to sell it in the first 10 days. Now, if we miss that first 10 days, it really means in most cases that people didn't want to bid on that house. Great location, okay price, but it just means that they're not fighting for it. They're not going to fight for it. They're not going to try and bid over it. So they'll pull back and they'll go, I'm not going to get in a bidding war for that house. And then a week later, they're going to go, that house didn't sell. It's still sitting here. Let's go back and take another look at it. Because now you're looking at closer to list price. I would pay the $850. I don't know that I want to get into a bidding match over this thing. But when it sits there for 10 days or 7-10 days, now people, we call them the on-backs. They're going to come on back. Now, if we miss the first wave and we miss that second wave, now we're talking about getting into that 30-day period where we need to take some corrective action. So you want to make sure that you're talking to them every Tuesday, that we stay online with what we're going to do. Good or bad, you need to talk to them. If you do not communicate with your seller, you are dead. You are just dead. If you haven't talked to them in 7 days, that's a problem. Okay. I know you don't have anything new to tell them, but call them and tell them you don't have anything new to tell them. But make sure you communicate. We do probably 20%, 15-20% of our business is from people whose houses have withdrawn. And I can tell you, when I say what went wrong, they never got communicated with. Person put a sign in the front yard, they never told them a thing. So you need to constantly be in communication. Weekly reports. What's your social media stuff? How many people have been to your website? You know, part of your working this listing is not just contracts, but there are no contracts. You need to get those reports out. How many people saw it on showing time? Trust me. And again, the truth will set you free. If only one person saw it a week, we need 7 a week to sell the house. So we all need to know that. We need to know that the number is 7. How many people need to see it in a week for it to get a contract? 7. We only have 1. Bad news. Got to tell them. Not your fault. I mean, we're doing everything we can. It's just the reality is that market at this time had 1 person that's only seen it, and that's just not enough, you know? So we need to make sure that we have all these reports, that we're killing them with information after we get the listing, all right? So let's say we did our job. It's 85% of the deals, and it gets contracted in the first weekend. Let's talk about contracts, okay? We need to make sure that you have your contract instructions and what your instructions are. Multiple contract situation, we'll take highest and best contracts Sunday by 5 o'clock. No escalation clauses. And I'm going to tell you, if you're a listing agent, you should have no escalation clause. Just need your highest and best offer. Get a contract, escalation clause. Oh, we don't want escalation clause. Please submit your highest and best offer. If they come back and fight with you, well, they're sealing their own grave, aren't they? Because if I have multiple contracts, I'm not taking your contract. Because if you won't listen to and follow instructions, then we have a problem. And I highly recommend that if you're a buyer agent, that you listen to and follow instructions, because it's going to be tight. And all they're going to do is say, let's take this one. Why? The agent's easier to work with. This one's already trying to bully me. I'll take this one right here. So when you communicate with a listing agent, you better be their best friend. Your buyer needs to communicate with the seller. They need to go wife to wife. Can't wait for my kids to grow up in this house. You need to communicate with that seller, from your buyer to that seller, you know, with a picture and all that stuff. Moms want their house to be taken care of. So that kind of communication is very, very important. So if you're the buyer agent, you want to be friends with them, make sure they know you're easy to work with, have a communication from your buyer to them. And if he tells you no escalation clause, or she tells you no escalation clause, it's no escalation clause. Give us your highest and best offer, okay? Because we won't take it. Just so everybody's clear, we're not going to take it. So So what you want to do is make sure so you don't have to email, and this is an important thing too. You have your instructions as a shortcut on your computer. Okay. So um, so what I do is just put an X behind an abbreviated word. So you go to your keyboard and you go to shortcuts and you say CONX, CONX, and then it'll fill in your contract instructions. So email comes in, hey, thinking about your house, or on your cell phone, you go CONX, and it fills in all the contract instructions. Hey, thanks for submitting a contract. Here's our instructions. Boom, 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 boom. So that way you're using 4 letters instead of having to type things out all the time. Do that. The easy way to do it is go to your settings, go to your keyboard, go to shortcuts, and just type in CON is the shortcut, CONX, X. Got to put an X on it. CONX, and then it'll fill in all those blanks for you. So that's an easy way to express your contract instructions, even though they're in the computer waiting for them. Not everybody does that. So make sure you've got it on your computer. Make sure you have that on the phone. Okay? Stay calm. Be fair. Even though you've got 6 contracts, don't act like you're in charge. Don't act like you got leverage. Don't act like you are some kind of don't try and bully these agents. We need all 6 contracts. We need them all. So I'm going to be nice to everybody, because when we do a home inspection, I may need to throw this person out and come in and do a backup contract. And let me tell you something. If I've been really nice to all 5 of them, they're still there. But if I'm a jerk, if my agents are a jerk, none of them are there. Now I'm stuck with him or her. So, we don't want to be stuck. We've got leverage. Remember what I said the other day? There's 5 people want and 1 person has. Okay. So if I'm the 1 person that has, and I've got 5 that want, I'm leveraged. But if it's one-on-one, there is no leverage. We want to keep all 5 involved. So your communication with them has got to be very positive. And we'll say a lot. It's like, look, the number was big. It was just bigger. There's nothing I could do, but those contracts kick out, stick around. Maybe that'll kick out. Maybe you can fill in for it. Okay. So let's not go anywhere. Let's stay calm. Don't show that you have the leverage. They know you have leverage. Never lie. Never say, oh, yeah, we got the 3 contracts coming. Hey, I don't have any contracts. None in hand. I've got 3 agents asking for contract instructions. That's all I know. I've got nothing in hand. They appreciate that honesty, because everybody's, oh, I think I got 2 contracts, 3 contracts. What do you got in hand? What do you have in your hand? So answer their question. Okay. So we've given them instructions. We've communicated what we need from them. Then when we communicate all these contracts to the seller, we do a spreadsheet, and we put in everything in the spreadsheet. What's the down payment? What's the earnest money deposit? What's the kind of financing? How much is the price? When's the settlement date? What are the concessions? What are the contingencies? So the 10 most important things you have should be in a spreadsheet that you've already prepared. All you're doing is filling in the blanks. This is the contact information. This is the name of the agent, seller's last name, price, down payment, type of financing, concessions, contingencies, blah, 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 blah. So when the time comes, and let me tell you, you better have them prepared, because once you get a lot of agents, these agents get froggy. We don't want this great contract to leave because now your seller wants to read the whole contract or 8 contracts. We want to be ready to go. Here are the contracts. Here's your spreadsheet. This is the one we recommend. These are, maybe we look at it and say, contract 1 and 2 are close, but I like the agent from contract 2 better. Let's just tell them to bump their offer $5,000 to match the other one, and let's go with them. And then here's what you communicate. Betty, you're $5,000 light of the other contract. Can you get your people to come up $5,000? If you can, then we probably get you this contract, okay? But Betty, if we do get you this contract, I don't want to hear a peep during the home inspection, okay? Now, can we carry that out? No. But are we setting expectations? Yes. Betty, if you want to be a good friend of our team and keep this going, let's just make sure that we we don't get carried away. And then we work with them as a partner. We're working with them as a partner. We're trying to get this thing through. We want to be fair and analytical. We want to have good faith on the seller side and good faith on the buyer side. Now, that is a term we use a lot. We're just trying to do what's in good faith. The seller made a good faith concession. That is not a good faith concession on your buyer side. Okay? So we get in a little bit of these negotiations, but let's use that when we're communicating back and forth. We want to work as a partner. We want to work in good faith. We want to remain calm. They're getting pressure from their buyer to try to lowball and do all this stuff. So let's make sure we give this agent enough of our information to help them. You know how we had to talk the buyer or the seller into going from here to here? Remember how we had to do that? Now we need to talk the buyer into going from here to here. And we do that through analytical negotiations. So that's the way we're communicating. So now we've got our contracts. Now we're communicating with the contracts. We are trying to be positive. We're trying to be friendly. We're trying to be professional. Okay. So now we're done with our contracts. We're done communicating with the contracts. What time is it? Oh, geez, I got to move. Let me see. Oh, geez, I got to move. I'm going to go a little quicker. Don't take notes. Don't take notes because I'm going to move a little faster. All right. All right. So inspections, again, it's always positive. They're 40, I'm at 0. I think we're getting close. Let's start talking. Let's start analyzing this. Let's keep our lines of communication open. Let's always be positive. Let's be a deal maker, not a deal breaker. Okay. Let's go to the marketing plan. Okay. We need to define the characteristics of this house. All right. We need to make sure we have pictures and websites and all the information we need, brochures and cards. We need to make sure that that house is ready. So on our marketing plan, how are we going to communicate? Well, first we've got to have our product packaged. Then we're going to communicate. We're going to communicate to the agents. We're going to send out the emails to all the agents that have all this stuff on it, a very nice introduction. Same kind of introduction email I send to clients before a listing presentation. Michelle does the exact same thing to the agents that have stored searches for our properties. And if that agent has somebody that says, hey, I love this property, I'm putting a heart by that one's getting a phone call. So pick up the phone and give them a call. Remember, communicate to the masses. Take a sniper rifle at the ones that you really are close ones. All right. So emails to the agents. Coming soon is when we do it. Okay. We want to get them their defining characteristics, the cool things about the house. We send an intro to the buyers via social media. So the way we communicate with buyers is mass communication. All right. We're going social media. We're looking for feedback. We're reading all of the information that's on that, on the social media reports. And we're reporting that back to the seller. So the seller knows there's things going on. We're communicating with the public and we're passing it on to the seller. Okay. So we got agents are getting emails. Buyers are in social media. Renters are getting cards, and the cards going out to 500 people that rent in that area. And that is basically out to the school district. Hey, there's a house in your school district coming on the market. Here we go. A lot of people rent before they buy. And once their kids get entrenched in the school, they ain't moving. I don't care if it's a 3 or a 4, they're not moving. They like the school, they like the principal, that's where they're going to stay. So the neighbors also are the biggest advocates of that neighborhood. Have you ever walked in a neighborhood and not have somebody say this is the greatest neighborhood of all time? Right. Well, those are your advocates. Those are the ones that are saying this is a great neighborhood. So let's take 500 or 750 of the really nice brochures of this house and let's get them out in their hands. Maybe they can help. Neighbors helping neighbors doesn't hurt. And another reason, another protocol or another campaign for you to get out in the face of the public. Is it expensive? Sure. But one deal pays for an awful lot of them. I can tell you that. Actually, one deal pays for that thing 20 times over. So I guess if I get one deal out of 10 of those, I'm still doing okay. But we get a lot more than that. We get maybe, 1 or 2 every time we get that thing rolling. So, all right. So we're going out to the neighbors. You may be needing to move up. You may needing to move down. If I've got a smaller house, there's a move down house. If I've got a big house, if it's the biggest one in the neighborhood, some people may say that's a negative. Well, tells me I got a lot of people with smaller houses that want to stay in the neighborhood. Let's show them and get them to move up. Turn a negative into a positive. Okay, how do we communicate with showing agents, right? Follow-up emails, phone calls. We need to talk. We need that information. I know they're going to get an automated email. Pick up the phone and give them a call. How they like it? Did they find something else? The more information you can drag out of them and pass on to your seller, you are a rock star. If you can do just that, pick up the phone. Hey, Mary, what else you got to do? Pick up the phone. Hey, Mary, how are you? Hey, how did they go? Did they find something? How long have they been looking? What does it got? Get information. Pass the information to the seller. You're a rock star. Huge deal. If they're interested in the property, if you say it's a 5 or they got a heart or something, want to know, have they seen it? What's their story? Did they buy something else? If you tell them that they bought a house over in Lakeville that was $10,000 or $20,000 cheaper, blah, 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 I can tell you you're a rock star. So please focus on picking up the phone, calling your seller with any ounce of information. You know, they say crisis creates opportunities. Well, you know, in this business, any ounce of information is a reason to call the seller. It's just a reason to pass on to the seller. All right. Thought I already did contracts. You want to make sure you thank them for the contract, by the way. You want to work with them, not as adversaries, but as partners. We want to, just like we did with the listing, you know, where we're adversarial and, you know, we want to make sure that we're all on that same page. We want to communicate highest and best offers. You want to do it with the shortcuts. All right. You want to send an email to them. So a lot of times when I do get a contract, we send them a summary of the pricing. If it's too low, we send them a summary of the price saying, you know, it is worth $1.6 million. I mean, that's what it's worth, you know, and see if we can't move that needle up a little bit. So we're going to communicate the information that agent could take to their buyer and maybe help them improve that contract. The best thing when you're negotiating a contract is the off the record phone call. Jim, come on, man. Where are we at? I mean, you're stuck at yours. I'm stuck at mine. If I can get mine to 425, can you get yours to 1.425? I mean, let's work together here, okay? I mean, if I can get mine up, can you get yours down? Yeah, let's get this together and let's make a deal. Okay, let's do this deal. Okay, bye. Can't do it like this. Gotta do it like this. Okay. So when you get down to that little bit where they're here and you're here, that's the phone call that says, hey man, where do we need to be? Let's just get this done. Okay. So the last pint of blood in communicating is, okay, this is where they're stuck. We got to do it. We got to pay that number. Or let's say I'm the listing agent and I'm here and they're here. And the seller finally says, okay, but I don't want to hear anything on the home inspection. We'll come down, but we've just given a $12,500 concession and I'm not going to do it twice. So that is what we call the last pint of blood. It was on a negotiation class that we had. And now we're going to set expectations for the home inspection. Communicating it is tough. Let me tell you something. You think you're done, you ain't even close to done when that home inspection comes back. It's complicated. And to simplify a home inspection is a talent, okay? We want to be able to look at all these words and say, wear and tear item, safety issue, electrical, plumbing, got it. What can we fix? What can't we fix? You need to really be an expert on negotiating these inspections. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes, who just did one? Kelly had one. Morgan and Colby just had one. And I was like, oh shit, holy cow. And then all of a sudden they got it done. And it was pretty powerful, you know? But, you know, using these protocols where we're just trying to analyze the safety issues, get the safety issues taken care of, and the rest of it's wear and tear and the subject of the price. So how we communicate that, a lot of that's phone calls back and forth. We also want to have professional estimates on our side. When we do that, if there's any big items, we're getting a professional, because they'll communicate via invoice, and then we'll just show the invoice. Inspected it, said it's a good working condition, done. Next problem, next question. And again, these are paid professional estimates. Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna run quick to communicating your success. So I've got the communications with the prospects, with the clients, with the agents. Now I really want to get through the communicating your success, because that's where your business comes from. How I communicate my success is my business. That's prospecting. That's class 2. So, you know, what is a success? I just sold it. I just sold, whether I was the selling agent or the listing agent, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You sell the house, yes, send out the cards. Send out, you don't have brochures, so basically it's cards. But make sure that your picture and your face is on that social media. Just sold. John and Mary are very happy. Now, again, communicating success, we're going to show it to all our people that know us, and they're going to show it to all their people that know them, and they're going to ask that you please share. Please share. Family, friends, close. You can pick up the phone and call your mother-in-law or your sister or your brother, or, you know, everybody. If you just take your family, I'll bet every person that we're dealing with has 5, 6, 7 people just in their family, just in brother-in-law, sister-in-laws, you know, mom, dad, other people, you know, close friends. Hey, share this if you will, please share. So when the client sees that just sold, they can share it and say, you know, Kelly Samson did a great job. The Casey Samson team, they sold in 7 days. That goes out to Kelly's people. That goes out to her people. That goes out to her friends and family. So, you know, we're communicating our success with as many people as possible. And trust me, if they see it comes from a person that they know, that's very, very powerful stuff. So communicate your success on social media. You know, you can create ads, you can share with the other, you know, you can make sure that if you're with another agent, you can share that, you know, but we really want to have the comments from the sellers and share. So we need to stop and really focus on that, okay? Because that is where we're getting our business. Communicate your success with the general public. Just sold cards, brochures that go out. If I have a neighborhood and that neighborhood has an 8% rate, they're getting the big brochures. If they got a 3% rate, they might not be getting those brochures. They might get cards. So when I say turnover rate, that's important to know that does this area have a normal standard 3% turnover rate, or is it closer to 7 or 8? And if it is, there's a lot more opportunity there, 2-3 times what you would normally think. So let's, you know, that kind of decides what kind of method of communication I'm going to use.
Casey.
Yeah, buddy.
If you sell multiple homes in a neighborhood, it's also good to put those together, like in a quarterly or a monthly. Like, let's say we sell 2 or 3 homes over a 2-month span. You know, you can send those 2 or 3 as singles, and then after a month or 2, you can combine all 3 of them and send it out again and say, you know, here's our success over the last quarter. We just sold these 3 homes. It's another way to get in front of your audience.
That's a good point, Billy. Yeah, we're just doing that with 3 major neighborhoods. Probably 2,500 nice brochures where we sold, just like you said, 3 or 4 houses in each one of them. And then it goes over, you know, well, what's our message? Hey, I sold these houses, but our message is, what are the 4 pillars of selling a house? And backups of where you can link to and see it. So it's not just we sold them, it's how we sold them. And then that goes out, okay? And then on the back, obviously, it's promo for you and your track record. But again, well, that down here, Billy, is the next thing I was actually going to say is quarterly brochures, message brochures. Let's say your neighborhood is a neighborhood that says, you know, they were built 1980s, early 80s. Well, they may be perfect for a brochure you designed. We did one that said traditional versus going from traditional to transitional. Well, everybody's trying to figure out what to do about their kitchens and bathrooms and flooring and all this stuff. They need updating. Don't sell your house. Good message here. Don't sell your house without talking to us. Put the hammer down, I think is what I said. Put the hammer down until you talk to us. Because if you make certain modifications to that house, you're going to get 6 times your money back. If you make other modifications to that house, you're not going to get half of it back. So you need to be very careful what you put that in that house. That's a message. So again, target group, target message, communicating your success quarterly as well as just event plan. Again, we do, the monthly kind of newsletters. That's another way of communicating our success. What have we sold? Our website has what we've sold. So that's, you're right. I mean, we want to make sure that you communicate your success. And again, you have 2 or 3 campaigns that are set up for every success you have.
Yeah. Think width and breadth, right? So width and how many different marketing campaigns I have. Like, we don't just share all of our ads on Facebook, and that's the only thing we do 100 times. We have this avenue, that avenue, this avenue, that avenue, and we're hitting them all multiple times. So it's layers on top of the different campaigns that we have.
Right. And I've talked about, our communication sources, your emails, your phone calls. One thing I didn't talk about is Coffee with Casey. I mean, I was just walking by Christina Daves was giving a, whatever you call one of the PR seminar, whatever it stands for, public relations. And as I was walking by, she said something, it caught my ear, and I stopped and I went, You mean a Coffee with Casey, where I can do it live on Facebook and all that stuff? And that's what I was thinking in my mind, and developed a series, Coffee with Casey. And I do have sellers quote me on Coffee with Casey. So that's a monthly, get it off your chest, what you need to talk about in the real estate market. So that's another communication source that I've had. So the last one is, team communication. So we have a team, you have a team, everybody has a team. Whether your team is, your assistants or your mentors or whoever it is, these are just some general rules that we need to follow. If you're professional and you're nice, you never, ever talk about how you're overworked. Never. Because you're assuming the person you're talking to isn't doing anything. I got news for you. Sometimes it's very difficult not to tell people how much work you do. In fact, I can tell you, I made so much money because every time I'd see a guy named Ron Rush, and Ron Rush was a big agent back in my time. He died a little while ago, so now I can talk about him. Every time I saw Ron Rush, I'd bet the guy next to me $10. He tells me what his volume is in the first sentence. And he'd go, all right, you're on. It's like, hey, Ron, how you doing? How's it going? That's all I had to say. Well, I'm up to 120 deals this year. I'm having a pretty good year. Give me my money. Give me my money. So, you don't want to be bragging or talking about your workload. So, I know, sometimes you try not to, it comes out, but, you don't talk about how much workload you have, because everybody has workload. Everybody's working their tails off. The other thing you want to do is you don't want to bring problems or create problems. You want to figure out what the solution is. Can I solve this problem without calling that person? Can't tell you how many times I called Julie. I could have found that. What the hell are you calling Julie for? I could have found that. All I had to do is just shut up, work it out, figure it out for myself, and then I got my answer. So you want to solve your problem. I'll tell you when somebody's good at that. So Pam Mooney and I will go to a listing appointment, and we'll be at a listing appointment, and I will not hear from her until a check hits my mailbox. Not one peep. And I'm like, where'd that come from? That was listed, that was sold, whatever problems there were, the home inspections, done. And it's just freaking remarkable that I don't hear a peep until that thing hits settlement. So anyways, we want to make sure that when we're all working together, you're working as a team with somebody, whatever your job is, you just knock that job out and you do it as best you can. And you're not burdening all your stuff with everybody else. You're not telling them how great you are, how much you're working. You need to, as a professional, you need to communicate together. We all need coaches. And to be honest with you, this is a coaching kind of thing for the agents at Samson Properties, but it's a coaching thing for me, because when you coach, it forces you to summarize and be very analytical with how you do things. So every year or two, it's good for me to say, okay, I got all these things swirling around, put that in the proper context, put it in one place so that we have it too. I tell my agents on my team, this is more for you guys than it is for the Samson agents, because you're living this every day. So we need to make sure that we constantly go over this stuff. But we want to articulate what the game plan is. And you want to do that quarterly, not in January, and then you come out of the gates and do great, and then all of a sudden you're busy and you stop doing it. You want to dance with what brung you. If sending out cards or doing this or doing that is working, keep that going. Keep multiple campaigns going at all times. Multiple campaigns. You're managing your campaigns. There's a percentage of education. There's a percentage of managing your prospecting, which is managing your campaigns. 50% of your time is on your current deals. But the other 50% of your time better be on education and better be on prospecting. Okay? So Julie will sometimes get frustrated, and I'm feeling it. And I say, okay, let's just set our priorities. I just did it with Michelle. Michelle was, trying to get out of here. She's going to get married. And, Julie was going at the time. So there's things flying all over the place. Just stop. Let's set our priorities. This house is a priority, and that this is a priority. Okay. So when we set priorities, it takes all the things like this and makes them linear. And they say, okay, I'm going to knock out this one, then knock out this one, then knock out this one. If I don't get to those two, I don't get to those two. It is what it is. Okay. But these are our priorities. So set priorities. Make sure you set your messages. You sit down and focus on what are your messages going to be. Now, Billy came to me and said, hey, I want to do this campaign or that campaign. And it's like, well, in order to do that, you have to have the message, the market, and the delivery system. And then you also need one other thing. You need to have someplace they can come to see what we're talking about. So let's say we're going to send out these 4 pillars of listings, blah, blah, blah. We need to have that on the web page, that they've got the brochure, we get it to the right people, and they have a place to come to, and we can track those people. So when you set your message, it's got to be everything. It's got to be the message, the market, the delivery system, and where are they going to go to? Where are you going to take them to? What's your call to action? I don't think I've used that term one time in 8 classes. And you're constantly, when you're communicating, a call to action. What do you want me to do? If you need help, you need to call us. Friends don't let friends list houses and make mistakes. If you know the best team in real estate, you personally know the best team in real estate, you need to make sure your friends and family are taken care of. Have them give us a call. Protocols. When you're communicating, protocols are very critical. I have a protocol for that. I have a protocol for this, a protocol for that. Seller having a problem finding a rental property, got a protocol for that. Okay. So you need to have how you're going to deal with rentals. And again, this is over time. And when we have these partnership meetings that we'll have and they're going to be Tuesdays at 2:00. We'll have them every other week. My team is going to have a meeting on first Tuesday. The partnership meeting, which will include my agents, will be on the second Tuesday, and then every other Tuesday will go on from there. But I want to flush out transactions. I want to make sure that we talk about transactions. But the standard protocol is what I would quote. This is the way you do it. Boom, 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 boom. That's protocol. And when you quote a protocol to a client, most of them in the corporate world or professionals, they understand what that word means. They understand there is a proper protocol for the way we do things. So it's a powerful word, and it means you don't have to keep repeating things all over. This is just protocol. I'm just going to quote the protocol. And if something breaks and whatever we did didn't work, then we change the protocol. We update and change protocols every day. If that's not working, the reason the protocol is there is because over time we've built it. This is great. If we see a crack, we'll fix it. Okay. So basically that is the, wait a minute. That is basically 8 weeks of everything you need to know. And so now it's your graduation. You've graduated from the Casey Samson Masterclass series, and now you pretty much know enough to get yourself in trouble, all right? But we're not going anywhere. We're gonna still be here, and we'll be here to help, and we're gonna do the meetings every other Tuesday. So if you get caught in a Twitter, let me know. Now, also, if you're gonna partner with the Casey Samson team, like I said, there's a way of doing it. Setting up the meetings. Don't send me a phone number and a name and have me give them a call. I'm not gonna run down sellers all over the place. Once you set up a meeting, coordinate with us, we'll find out a good time. And then we'll do a listing appointment and we'll knock it out of the ballpark. Okay? So congratulations. And thank you for sitting around and listening to all of this. I know you've got a lot of classes you can take. But I think that, and I know these are tough because I don't do sizzle. This is not a bunch of sizzle. This is, Morgan and I went to that Carrie Shull, rah, bull BS, and all it was cheerleaders. It was 95% sizzle, 5% steak. This is 10% sizzle, 90% steak. This is exactly how you do it. Is if you want to get a better listing presentation, this is the way you do it. You want to get better buyer, boom. You want to prospect better, this is the way you do it. You want to, handle inspections, this is the way you do it. So I know these are tough, but again, it's only the beginning. This is not the end. This is only the beginning. So let's go ahead and see if we have any questions out there. Do you have anybody that?
I didn't really field any questions on this one. It was mostly, since it was mostly a conversation, I think.
Yeah.
There weren't really questions on the. Here we go. Here's one in. Oh yeah, just saying thank you. You're welcome.
All right, guys. Well, if we don't have a lot of questions, then I'm going to move it out. Thank you for sticking around for 8 weeks of Master Series. Hopefully you got something out of it, and we will talk to you. I will let everyone know when we're going to have our partnership meetings. Probably won't be for another couple of weeks, but we'll keep everybody posted. All right. Signing off. If you're looking for me, it's Casey at CaseySamson.com, and we'll put you in touch with one of our top producers so we can get things rolling. Thanks, guys.